He had passed every test. He was steps away from becoming the most powerful man in the land. Then one thought crossed his mind, and he lost everything. There is a truth most of us learn too late, that our greatest battles are never fought in the world outside, but in the quiet space between our ears. A single thought, left unchecked, can undo a lifetime of good character in one careless moment. This is the story of a young man named Elias, and the day his entire destiny rested on a single decision. Elias was a simple man from a small, dusty town at the edge of a valley. Life had never been generous to him. Each morning he rose before the sun, searched for whatever work he could find, and returned home each evening with just enough to keep himself alive. He had no wealth, no connections, and no shortcuts, only his integrity, which he guarded like a flame in the wind. One gray afternoon, after hours of searching and finding nothing, Elias turned toward home with empty hands and a heavier heart. The road stretched long before him when he heard a voice cut through the silence. "Young man, can anyone help an old traveler?" He turned. Leaning against the roadside was an elderly man, white-haired and weathered, standing beside three large, bulging sacks. His eyes were sharp despite his age. "I must reach the village beyond these hills," the old man said quietly. "I can manage 2 of these bags, but the third has become too much for these old bones. I'll pay you 6 silver coins if you carry it for me." Elias agreed without hesitation. But the moment he hoisted the bag onto his shoulder, he nearly st. "This is extraordinary," he said. "What's inside?" "Bronze pieces," the old man replied simply. "A life's worth of small savings." Heavy as it was, Elias adjusted the bag and walked. He noticed, as they traveled, that the old man watched him carefully, quiet, studying eyes that followed his every move. Elias understood. "He's afraid I'll disappear with his belongings." But the thought passed through him like wind through an open window. Running never crossed his mind as a real option. That simply wasn't who he was. They reached a wide river. Without pause, Elias waded into the cold current and crossed. The old man lingered on the bank. "I cannot cross with these 2 bags," he called out. "The current would take me. Would you come back for 1 more? I'll add another 6 silver coins." Elias waded back. But as he reached for the second bag, the old man gripped it tightly. "Promise me," he said, "that you won't disappear." Elias felt a flicker of irritation. "Have I given you any reason to doubt me?" "No," the old man admitted. "But this bag holds silver. Men change when silver is involved." "I am not most men," Elias said firmly. He took the bag and crossed again, steady as before. By the time they reached the foot of a steep hill, Elias had already proven himself twice. He began to climb. Behind him, the old man's footsteps slowed, then stopped. "I cannot make this climb," the old man said from below. "Leave the bags and come back, I'll have you carry the last one up." Elias descended again. When the old man handed him the third sack, his hands trembled slightly, not from age, but from something that looked almost like anticipation. "I must warn you," the old man said slowly. "This last bag is filled with gold. If you carry all 3 to the top and simply walk away, I am too old to chase you. No one would catch you." Elias looked at him steadily. "I once worked as a record keeper for a lending house. When they asked me to falsify documents, to lie about what poor families owed, I walked out that same day. I lost the income. I kept myself. That is the trade I always choose." The old man was quiet for a long moment. Then he nodded slowly, almost to himself. "Take the bag. I will follow when I can." "Wait for me beyond the top of the hill." Elias lifted all 3 sacks and began to climb. That was when it started. At first, just a whisper. "The old man can't follow you. He'll never catch up." Elias kept walking. 3 bags. Gold, silver, bronze. Enough to change everything. His steps slowed, just slightly. "You've struggled your whole life. When is it your turn? The old man is ancient. What does he need with all this? You're young. You could build something real. A home. A future. A life you've never been allowed to have." And then, Elias ran. He ran hard, lungs burning, until the hill and the old man and every promise he'd ever made felt distant. He ran until he reached his door, threw it open, and spilled the contents of all 3 bags across his floor. Stones. Dozens of ordinary, worthless stones tumbled across the ground. No gold. No silver. No bronze. Just rocks from any riverbed. Elias stood there, unable to breathe, not from the running, but from what was rising in his chest. Then he saw it. A folded piece of parchment, tucked inside the last sack. His hands shook as he opened it. "I am the ruler of this province. I have no children, no heir, and not many years remaining. For the past season, I have traveled these roads in disguise, searching, not for strength or cleverness, but for someone whose character holds even when no one is watching. You carried my burdens without complaint. You crossed cold water without hesitation. You endured my suspicion without bitterness. You told me the truth about who you are. You were, until the final hill, exactly what I have been searching for my entire life. Had you waited for me at the top, you would have returned home with me, not as a worker, but as my chosen heir. The bags were never meant to carry wealth. They were meant to carry you, to show me what lies inside you when the weight becomes unbearable. I am sorry that what I found at the end was not the man I met at the beginning." The old traveler. Elias sat on the cold floor for a long time. He was not a dishonest man. He had never been. He had quit jobs, gone hungry, and walked away from easy money his entire life, all to protect something inside himself that he believed was worth protecting. And yet, one thought had been enough. Not a plan. Not a scheme. Just a thought. You could run, and then another thought built on top of it, and another on top of that, until a whole architecture of justification had been constructed in the space of a single hillside climb. That is the most unsettling part of this story. Elias did not become a different person on that hill. He simply stopped guarding the gate. Our thoughts are not harmless visitors. They are seeds. And the soil of an unguarded mind is rich and deep. It grows whatever falls into it with remarkable speed. A small thought of greed does not stay small. It sends roots downward and branches upward, and before long it has grown into a decision, and the decision into an action, and the action into a consequence that no amount of regret can undo. We often believe that our character is something fixed, something that will hold automatically, like a wall. But character is not a wall. It is a practice. It requires attention, every single day, at every single hill. The ancient wisdom is simple: guard your mind, and your life will follow. Because everything you will ever do begins first as a thought. If this story stayed with you, share it with someone who might need it today. And do not forget to subscribe our channel for more English learning stories.